Monday, 8 a.m. The desk is quiet, but the mind is not. A software engineer sits before a modern home office desk and sees the evidence of neglect: old coffee cups, tangled wires, a keyboard pushed aside, cables crossing like accusations. Then comes the small sound, the click of a magnetic cable clip snapping into place. It is nothing. And yet the mind makes it into something. The impression arrives first: this desk must be fixed now. This disorder means you are behind. This tangle says something about your discipline, your worth, your ability to do serious work. Before one line of code is written, before the deep work sprint begins, the mind has already placed judgment on the table. Epictetus would stop you there. Not because order is useless. Not because the desk does not matter. But because the desk is not your ruler. The cable management tray is an object. The click is a sound. The mess is an event. The thread is added. Your first work is not clearing the surface. Your first work is refusing to let the surface govern you. The first boundary must be drawn before the first cable is moved. Not between the monitor and the keyboard. Not between the laptop charger and the docking station. The first boundary is drawn inside the mind, between what is yours to govern and what is not. The desk is in front of you. That is an event. The old coffee cups are there. That is an event. The wires are tangled behind the monitor. That is an event. The cable management tray waits under the edge of the desk. That is an object. The magnetic clip clicks when you press one cord into place. That is a sound. None of these things can command your ruling faculty. They can be noticed. They can be handled. They can be improved. But they cannot make you frantic unless you grant them that office. This is where many people lose the morning. They think they are losing it because the desk is messy. They think they are losing it because the sprint starts soon, because the inbox is already filling, because the codebase has unresolved defects, because a manager may ask for progress before lunch. But the morning is not lost at the level of the desk. It is lost when the mind says, "This disorder has authority over me." That sentence is the real clutter. Epictetus would not tell you that cables are imaginary. He would not tell you that environment has no influence. He would not tell a man to ignore the place where his work is done. Stoicism is not pretending that a dirty desk is clean. It is not calling laziness wisdom. It is not letting disorder sit there while you quote philosophy over it. The question is sharper. What part of this belongs to you? Your judgment belongs to you. Your assent belongs to you. Your intention belongs to you. Your attention belongs to you. Your next response belongs to you. The final result does not. You can clear the cups, but you do not govern whether the morning becomes perfect. You can route the wires into the tray, but you do not govern whether the cable length is ideal. You can arrange the keyboard, notebook, mouse, and monitor, but you do not govern whether the sprint goes smoothly. You can begin with discipline, but you do not govern every interruption, every message, every system failure, every opinion another person forms about your speed or competence. That is not an excuse. It is a command to stop wasting force. A software engineer knows this in technical work. You do not control every dependency. You do not control every external service. You do not control the hidden bug that appears only under pressure. But you do control whether you read the error carefully. You control whether you panic and thrash or isolate the fault. You control whether your next action is precise. The same rule applies before the work begins. The desk is not asking for panic. It is asking for one governable action. Pick up the cup. Throw it away. Take the loose cable. Press it into the clip. Slide the extra length into the cable management tray. Return the hand to the next visible task. Do not make a courtroom out of the desktop. Do not place your character on trial because a wire crossed another wire. Do not take a magnetic click and turn it into a verdict. The click does not say, "You are behind." It does not say, "You are undisciplined." It does not say, "This whole day is already damaged." Those are judgments. They came from you. And because they came from you, they can be examined by you. The boundary of control is not a comforting idea. It is a severe division. On one side, choice, attention, intention, response. On the other side, outcome, timing, reputation, other minds, past neglect, the total success of the deep work sprint. The untrained mind wants to drag the second side into the first. It wants to control the whole morning before touching the first cable. It wants certainty before action. It wants the desk to promise productivity. It wants the room to guarantee focus. It wants the cleared surface to certify worth. No desk can do that. A clean desk can support conduct. It cannot replace conduct. A cable management tray can hold wires. It cannot hold your judgment steady. A quiet home office can reduce friction. It cannot govern your assent. This is why the minimalist desktop can become another trap. The mind may claim it is seeking simplicity, but it may actually be seeking control over externals. It may say, once everything is clean, then I will be steady. That is backwards. The steadiness must come first, or even order becomes a tyrant. So begin the morning correctly. See the desk. Name the impression. Refuse the false authority. Move the hand toward what is yours. The purpose of clearing the desk is not to prove you are safe. It is to prepare a field for responsible action. The purpose of placing the cable into the tray is not to erase yesterday. It is to do the next suitable thing today. The purpose of order is not to control the result. It is to remove what can be removed, accept what cannot be governed, and meet the work without complaint. The desk may become clean. The sprint may still become difficult. That is not contradiction. That is life under a correct boundary. The desk does not disturb you by itself. That must be said plainly, because the mind will resist it. The mind prefers to blame the visible thing. It wants to point at the tangled wires, the old cups, the charger lying across the keyboard, the cable that will not sit cleanly in the tray. It wants to say, there. That is why I am irritated. That is why I cannot begin. That is why the morning feels threatened. But Epictetus makes a harder division. First comes the impression. The impression is the appearance that strikes you before you have examined it. You hear the click of the magnetic cable clip. You see the desk half cleared. You feel the clock pressing against the start of the deep work sprint. The impression arrives. This is urgent. This is personal. This disorder means something is wrong with you. This desk must be conquered before you can respect yourself. That is only the first appearance. Not truth. Not law. Not command. An impression can knock at the door. It cannot make itself master unless you invite it in. Then comes judgment. Judgment is where the danger enters. Not because judgment is bad, but because judgment is powerful. The ruling faculty does not merely see objects, it assigns meaning. It does not merely see wires, it says, this disorder proves I am careless. It does not merely hear a clip snap into place, it says, now everything must be perfect. It does not merely see old coffee cups, it says, yesterday has followed me into today, and now my work is already corrupted. That is the error. The external thing has been inflated. A desk buried in old coffee cups and tangled wires has been treated as evidence about worth, safety, and the right to begin. The mind has taken something outside its moral purpose and dressed it in authority. It has turned a workspace into a judge. This is not careful thinking. It is assent given too quickly. Assent is the moment you agree with the impression. You may not say it aloud. You may not form the sentence clearly. But you act as if the sentence is true. You slam the cup into the trash. You yank the cable too hard. You mutter it yourself. You delay the work because the room has not granted permission. You check messages to escape the discomfort. You keep rearranging the same objects because the surface is never clean enough to satisfy the judgment behind it. That is not order. That is obedience to an unexamined impression. The cable management tray is still under the desk. The wires still need attention. But now the task has been poisoned by false meaning. You are no longer arranging cables. You are trying to repair your standing before an imaginary court. Stop. Name what has happened. This is an impression. That sentence is small, but it interrupts the chain. It places distance between appearance and agreement. It tells the ruling faculty, you do not have to sign this immediately. The click of the magnetic clip is not a verdict. The mess on the desk is not a sentence. The fact that it is Monday at 8 a.m. does not prove the morning is lost. These are materials for action, not masters over the soul. A disciplined person does not refuse impressions. He receives them and examines them. So examine this one. Is the desk disorderly? Yes. Does that mean your character is ruined? No. Should the cups be removed? Yes. Does that mean the past has authority over the present? No. Would a clearer surface support the work? Yes. Does the work depend on the desk becoming perfect? No. Can you choose the next suitable action? Yes. Then choose it. The danger is not the cup. The danger is not the wire. The danger is not the 10 minutes spent organizing before a sprint. The danger is letting these things decide the quality of your assent. When an external object begins to determine your inner posture, the mistake has already begun. You may still clear the desk with speed. You may still prepare the room with care. You may still place every cord into the tray and align the tools for serious work. But you must do it as one who governs his response, not as one being governed by the desk. There is a difference between discipline and compulsion. Discipline says, this space should be made suitable for work, so I will take the next clear action. Compulsion says, until this space is perfect, I am not permitted to be steady. One is ruled by reason. The other is ruled by fear, wearing the mask of standards. Epictetus would press the point, what has disturbed you is not the object, but the judgment added to the object. So return to the sequence. Impression, the desk appears urgent and threatening. Judgment, the mind says the mess has authority over worth and readiness. Assent trap, you agree too quickly and let the mess choose your mood, pace, and movement. Correction, pause, name the impression, separate the event from the judgment, and act only where action belongs. Now the clip clicks again. This time, it is only a sound. And because it is only a sound, you are free to choose the next action without bowing to it. Ascesis does not begin when the desk is perfect. It begins when the desk irritates you. This is where training hides in ordinary life. Not in a retreat. Not in a clean notebook. Not in a sentence copied from an ancient book and placed under a monitor. Training begins at 8 a.m. on Monday when the home office shows you something you dislike and the mind wants to turn dislike into command. The old cups are still there. The wires are still crossed. The tray is still waiting under the desk. The magnetic clip still gives its small click when a cable is pressed into place. That click can be used. Most people waste it. They hear the sound and let it confirm pressure. One click, and the mind says, move faster. Another click, and it says, this should have been done yesterday. Another click, and it says, you cannot start deep work until this whole surface looks like the picture in your head. That is not ascesis. That is servitude with better lighting. Stoic training is more exact. You take the same moment and use it to practice command over assent. You do not need a dramatic enemy. You do not need public insult, financial crisis, or disaster to test the ruling faculty. A tangled cable is enough, because the issue is not the size of the event. The issue is whether your judgment stays under your governance. So make the desk your exercise ground. First, slow the first movement. The hand reaches for the cup. Pause before the grasp becomes a verdict. See what the mind is trying to add. This mess means I'm behind. No. It means there is a cup on the desk. Remove it. Nothing more is required. The cup does not need a speech from you. It does not need resentment. It does not need self-accusation. It needs to be picked up and put where it belongs. That is training. Second, keep the action small enough to be governed. Do not try to conquer the whole morning. Do not try to guarantee 4 hours of perfect concentration. Do not try to make the desk prove that you are a disciplined person. Take one wire and place it into the cable management tray. Press the clip. Hear the click. Stop there for one breath. That sound is now a bell of examination. What did you assent to? Did you assent to reason, or to pressure? Did you choose the movement, or did the impression drag you into it? Did you clear the space because it serves the work, or because you demanded from the desk a certificate of worth? This is the discipline. Not performance. Examination. A man can have a spotless desk and a disordered ruling faculty. He can have every cable hidden, every device aligned, every window closed, and still be ruled by externals. He may look composed from the doorway, but inside he is bargaining with the result. If this sprint goes well, I am safe. If the work flows, I am competent. If no one interrupts me, I can remain steady. That is a weak contract. It gives authority to things that never belong to you. Ascesis breaks the contract by returning power to the present act. The work is not to feel certain. The work is to choose correctly under uncertain conditions. The work is not to create a room that cannot disturb you. The work is to become the kind of person who can meet disturbance without handing it the throne. So when the cable resists the tray, train there. Do not curse the cable. Do not make the object moral. Do not turn a small inconvenience into evidence against the day. Look at it. Adjust the angle. Try again. If the cable is too short, accept that fact and route it differently. If the tray is poorly placed, correct the placement if it is worth correcting. If the solution is imperfect, let it be imperfect and return to the purpose of the morning. Reason does not require perfection to act. This matters because deep work is not protected by aesthetics alone. You can buy the tray, arrange the monitor, silence the phone, clean the desk, and still lose the sprint if you carry an undisciplined judgment into the first task. The real preparation is not visual. It is moral. It is the ability to say, this is a useful order, not a sacred condition. This surface supports my work, but it does not govern my worth. Then sit down. Open the editor. Place attention where it belongs. When the next impression arrives, an unread email, a build error, a message from a manager, a memory of unfinished work, use the same training. Name it. Examine it. Withhold quick assent. Ask what is yours. Then act. The desk was never separate from the work. It was the first lesson of the work. Responsibility begins after the judgment is corrected. It is not enough to say, the desk does not govern me, and then leave the desk buried in cups and wires. That would not be Stoicism. That would be evasion wearing a philosophical coat. Epictetus does not train a person to escape duty by naming externals. He trains a person to meet duty without surrendering the ruling faculty. So the question changes. Not, can this desk make me worthy? It cannot. Not, can this morning guarantee a successful sprint? It cannot. The question is, what conduct is required of me now? A software engineer has work to do. There is code to read, systems to maintain, defects to investigate, decisions to make, messages to answer with care. Other people may depend on the work. A teammate may be blocked. A customer may be waiting. A manager may need a clear status. A future version of yourself may suffer because the present version chose noise over order. These things matter. They are not sovereign. Duty is not the same as anxiety. Responsibility is not panic. Discipline is not the frantic attempt to control every consequence before beginning. A responsible person does not say, because results are not mine, I will be careless. He says, because results are not fully mine, I will give greater care to what is mine, intention, attention, judgment, and the next right action. That is the proper weight. So clear the desk as a matter of conduct. Remove the cups because they do not belong in the workspace. Route the cables because a clear path reduces friction. Use the cable management tray because tools should serve the work instead of competing with it. Press the magnetic clip into place and hear the click without making it a ceremony of self-worth. Then stop arranging when arrangement has served its purpose. This is where responsibility becomes precise. The irresponsible mind may neglect the desk for weeks and call it freedom. The equally irresponsible mind may spend the whole morning perfecting the desk and call it standards. Both are avoiding the same duty. One avoids order. The other avoids work. Stoic conduct stands between them. It does what reason requires. No less. No more. If 5 minutes of clearing prepares the sprint, give 5 minutes. If 10 are needed, give 10. But do not let preparation become delay. Do not polish the surface because the first problem in the code is difficult. Do not adjust the cable again because opening the project feels heavy. Do not reorganize the drawer because a hard decision waits in the editor. A man can hide from duty under the appearance of order. That must be seen. The desk can become a respectable excuse. It looks productive. It gives visible progress. It offers small victories, 1 cup removed, 1 cable clipped, 1 tray filled, 1 corner cleared. But if the real duty is to sit down and begin the deep work sprint, then endless preparation is not discipline. It is refusal with clean hands. Responsibility asks for the next fitting act, not the most comfortable act. Sometimes the fitting act is to clean. Sometimes the fitting act is to stop cleaning. At Monday, 8 a.m., the engineer must know the difference. This is why the boundary of control is not passive. It does not make you detached from life. It makes you exact inside life. You stop demanding that the desk protect your reputation. You stop demanding that the sprint confirm your identity. You stop demanding that other minds approve the pace of your morning. Then, with those false demands removed, you become more available for duty, not less. You can answer the message without resentment. You can start the build without drama. You can read the error without insulting the day. You can admit what is unfinished without treating it as disgrace. You can tell the truth about progress without bargaining for applause. That is conduct. It is not loud. It is not impressive. It does not require the room to admire you. It is the quiet strength of doing the next governable thing because it is yours to do. The desk is now mostly clear. Some cable may still show. 1 cup ring may remain on the surface. The tray may not hide everything. The room may not look like an advertisement. Good. Let it be human. Let it be sufficient. Now the question is whether you will work with the same discipline you used to clear. Attention belongs on the task. Judgment belongs under examination. Assent belongs under guard. Speech belongs to truth. Movement belongs to purpose. If the result later disappoints you, that will be another event. If someone misunderstands your effort, that will be another impression. If the sprint is interrupted, that will be another test of assent. None of that cancels the duty of this moment. Responsibility is not ownership of all outcomes. It is ownership of your conduct before outcomes arrive. The freedom here is not the freedom to get the result you want. It is the freedom to stop kneeling before the result. The desk may be clean, and the sprint may still be hard. The cables may sit neatly in the tray, and the first build may still fail. The old cups may be gone, and someone may still send a message that interrupts the morning. Nothing in Stoicism promises that order outside you will force life to cooperate. That is why the result cannot be your master. You cleared what could be cleared. You placed the wire where it belonged. You heard the magnetic click without turning it into a verdict. You prepared the desk, then returned to the work. That is enough for the present duty. The minimalist desktop is not a shrine. It is not proof of virtue. It is not protection against uncertainty. It is a small field where conduct can become cleaner, attention can become steadier, and judgment can become less obedient to appearances. When the next impression comes, do not rush to sign it. Look at it. Name it. Ask what belongs to you. Then act. A man is not free because his environment is finely arranged to his preference. He is free when preference no longer rules his assent. He is free when he can use order without worshipping it, meet disorder without collapsing before it, and begin the work without demanding permission from the surface of a desk. Return to what is yours to govern.